Hello and happy Friday, everyone. It is Friday, December 12th, 2025, perhaps Saturday, December 13th, 2026, 2025, wherever you may be around this world. You are here for five secrets to building an AI native career in 2026. My name is Albert. I'm the founder of Albert's List, and we're a job search, side hustle, and AI education organization helping you become the most resilient professional you can possibly be. Today, I am hosting a really exciting webinar that I have been really looking forward to, featuring my friend Sean and his business partner, Soham. I've known Sean for many, many years, and he has been extremely successful in the enterprise technology space. And he's here today to really share with you how you can not only use AI, but also scale it within your career and build a moat around what makes your skills really special. So over the next hour, he's going to be sharing some really great content. And so if you have any questions, enter them in the webinar chat. We'll also be recording this webinar as well, and there'll be a special opportunity for you to work with Sean and Soham at the end. Sean, it's so great to have you here. Welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for having us, Albert, and really glad to be here with everyone. Thanks for taking the time on a Friday as we're kind of getting into the tail end of the year and the holiday season. What I'll say is that I'm gonna just share my screen in a second, and we'll get started. So just a second. I'll be right with you. Okay. So I would say we should be good to go. And yeah. So again, welcome everyone to Five Secrets to Building an AI Native Career in 2026. Or for those of you that are quite aggressive and absolutely love to hustle, then also the last 2 weeks of 2025. We're gonna do our best to give you effectively a stacked session with insights that we've taken quite a while to learn through application, through failure, and happily through success. We're also going to feature in a live exercise and a product demo to show you how we put our learnings or how we've also derived our learnings. And as much as that's going to be a stacked session, hopefully at the end, you get to tell us if it was a value-packed session, right? Now, I think everyone's read the description, so you know what you signed up for today. And again, thank you for taking the time. But really, why are we here? Why does this matter, right? Your time means a lot. At least it does to us. We appreciate it. So why does it matter that we're here? What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about today? One, if you haven't heard it already, or you probably know it from a lot of your practical experience, but building things, particularly software, automation, workflows, and a lot, building is really cheap now, right? You talk about a lot of different models coming out and AI single shotting things. I believe some folks have taken sessions or courses that Albert and other teams offer about building side hustles on the weekend and more. Many of you probably have done things in terms of experimentation, possibly launched businesses, seen others on various social media channels and more do it. So it's true that the entry barrier has collapsed, and that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully, we're here to make sure that it's a good thing for all of us. Where the advantage is really moved is really, I think, everything that makes us human, right? So I think it's speed of decision making, not just of execution, but that starts at decision making. It's speed of decision making. It's the judgment calls about what AI will and won't be good at to some extent. And I think very, very important. I think often overlooked, and I'm culpable of having made that mistake in the past myself. Distribution, as in, if you build something, how are you going to get it into enough people's hands? Because that entry barrier is cheap, everybody's tired, everybody's flooded, everybody's overpitched with things, whether it's enterprise buyers, whether it's you as consumers, whether it's you in your job function as of procurement or anything else. One thing we know is that, individuals, all of us in our individual capacities have gained leverage. And now small teams can really rival large organizations in terms of capability and impact. Um, I won't say more now because I'd like to show you rather than just talk about it. So in that sense, the ground is shifting very, very quickly. And we want to make sure that everyone, at least everyone again, who's committed their time, we help you win. And we want to help others based on what we've learned. And we want to learn from you too. It's not just about sharing. I look forward to joining and seeing someone else present too. In terms of who we are, aside from anything in terms of our bios, I just want to share a statement in terms of Soham and myself. So, um, I've run the gamut in terms of enterprise, having worked at Lockheed Martin, Capgemini, Accenture. So everything from the 100,000 to the 800,000 person companies, built and scale teams of about 1,000 people myself, managed, grown and managed, not inherited, but painfully grown and managed. I would say 8 to 900 million dollar portfolios. That is annually on the enterprise side, but also launched the kinds of small businesses that net low six figures a year with minimal impact, minimal effort, minimal input, and large amounts of automation. So that's a little bit about me. Soham, I would say is, aside from everything it says on screen, I'll just say he's Mr. Fantastic. I mean, this guy is a passionate developer. And Soham, I mean, would you like to introduce yourself in a line?
Sure. So I live with this philosophy of giving out one feature at least a day to the community. So, and I'm pretty glad that I'm able to do this on a day-to-day basis. And the more I develop, the more I create new features, new products, it gives me much more to achieve. So, yep, I live by that philosophy. It keeps me feeding in, and I'm glad that I'm able to do it.
Thanks, Soham. And as we kind of move forward, I do want to make one point and ask a question as well. The point is, sometimes we'll make references, or oftentimes we'll make references to software, to automation. This session is a whole lot more than that. So we'll touch upon a number of different areas and examples and how you can apply all of them based on who you are and what you like to do. But before we actually get into all that, really just a quick poll. We've I think Albert will launch this in Zoom or may have already, but it would be very, very good to understand how you use AI today. So you'll see options 1 through 5. And Albert, if the poll is up, you can just get that going, and it'll be good to see what the responses are like.
Yep, poll is up. If you can see it coming in, daily productivity leads by a long shot at 63%, followed by experiment occasionally, and then behind that is a tie between integrated workflows and not sure where to start.
Okay. Okay. I'm not. I will say that sounds good. I mean, it sounds good. Sounds like what I expected. I think daily productivity, whether we talk about the GPTs or Claudes or even XAI and everything else in terms of Grok and others, I'm sure folks have used that. Folks use that. I mean, it's ubiquitous at this point. What I'll say as we move forward is I'm glad that's the distribution curve, helps us calibrate as we go forward. What this session is to be more effective overall. What it's not is a focus on any one tool. So what I'm not going to do and what we're not going to do is tell you here's a magic prompt. If that's what you'd like, we're happy to do that offline. We're happy to have a separate session, but this one's a little more overarching. So without further ado, I think number one, like insight number one or secret number one in that sense is, our take and our point of view is that AI evolves in eras, and careers must too, right? Because we want to demystify, or at least for the purpose of this session, talk about what is AI, and what does it really mean to us? What does it really mean to you? and how does it benefit you, right? And how does it actually create value for you? And how it creates value for you is, of course, using your talent to create value for those around you, those in your orbit, commercially, professionally, even personally. So, what do we mean by AI evolves in eras? Well, what I can say is, at least throughout our journey, building 7 products in the last 14 years, and I'm talking about 7 products purely in an entrepreneurial sense. This aside, of course, I've worked with about 150 of the Fortune 500 to do all kinds of things in my career, and then Soham's done a fair bit as well. But just even from a do-it-yourself build from 0 to 1, we've lived in 4 eras. The era of light automation, for example, I run a company called YB Intel, which is a analytics for the hospitality or hotel industry. That's something I started, the first version ever in 2010 or 11. And only to say that that automated what was otherwise a very tedious manual process. It just made things digital. And I think for those who will remember what things are like in 2010 and 2011 and state of the art in terms of tech, there wasn't much. And for the more technical among you, you know, the most you'll ever do on the AI ML front in a mainstream sense was, pandas and scikit-learn and other things in terms of tech. So it was light automation. And then of course it grew. Um, a number of you, I think, as Albert said, an overwhelming majority of you said that you use AI for daily productivity. And I think that's largely a hallmark of post GPT-3 era, right? So I would say mid late 2022 onwards is where we had the research and go to market acceleration, where it helps you do your research, personally or professionally. It aids you in decision making, but it's largely reactive. It's largely ephemeral. It's largely a point in time, and it's very, very spread out. 1 minute you're asking for, yes, where in the world can I take a vacation? Tahiti, like Albert says, and the next minute you're asking, how do I debug some Python code? The third, you're asking about how do I optimize lead generation or something like that. Um, so it's very sparse. Then we've moved on, I mean, since then to, of course, AI native products. As an example, one of the industries I closely work in and have spent, the last 15 years is cybersecurity. And just to use that as an example, there's AI for security products and there's securing AI products. But a lot of people started infusing products with AI and with automation, with LLM driven automation. Um, a lot of folks started creating, workflows. Some of you are no doubt familiar with or have implemented workflow automation in N8N or Make or other, automation platforms. If not, um, feel free to ask. Happy to share some stories. And we had our own example of this too, right? With one of my former companies where we tried to make AI infused security products as an example. And right now, I think we're living in really this era of all things agentic. Now, more than just a buzzword or everybody's favorite bingo card item at a tech conference. Um, what it means is that's really where a bulk of the innovation is right now. And without dwelling too much on the definition, what I'll say is this. From a career perspective, it's very important not to be too early because you'll saturate your potential user base, your adoption, your own brand. And it's important not to be lagging behind. I think what's paramount is it's not okay to just be still because we'll all be forgotten, right? Those of us who don't move with the times, which, as Bob Dylan says, the times are changing. Well, if you don't move with them, you'll kind of fall behind. So I would say if it's very, very important, if anyone's in era 2, Yes, that is important for a lot of things. That will continue to be important for a lot of things. But where we want to focus is enabling you on number three and number four. And if you are not a software developer or you are not a tech person, no problem. We are going to focus on how that applies to marketers. We're going to focus on how it applies to salespeople. We're going to focus on what it means for strategy, tech strategy, or others. If you work at a large company, how do you get ahead? What can you propose? So that's what we mean by eras, and I think it's very important to have to move with the broader market, right? And on the edge of it, preferably. So that's it. One thing I'll share, and we're very keen to focus on this, is this. A lot of times, people are worried about, will AI take my job? I think you may have attended other talks, you may have given them, read blogs, written blogs, anything else. Um, yes, there's a lot to be said about that, but I want to tell you about the flip side. Far too often, what I've seen is the biggest losers are those that do not dare to think big enough. Um, if you say that, well, this LLM can't do the job, AI can't do math, it can't search the web, so on and so forth. Yes, those were all true. But as y'all can see, for example, GPT 5.2 came out yesterday. It was supposed to be like a 6, and now they've had to call it a 5.2 because the other providers have set the bar so high. But what I'd like to communicate and hope everyone takes to heart is, think big. If you want to build something for yourself, for as a solopreneur, as a small business, as a startup, as a hobby project, as automation within a large company you work at, think big and just give it a shot. And the tech will catch up, right? For those, we are not all model scientists. We don't work at at OpenAI or Anthropic, etc. Maybe some of you do. That's awesome. Would love to connect. But they will catch up. They will catch up faster than you think to be innate to do what you want. And you will be rewarded for thinking big and acting on it. So that's effectively the takeaway. When it comes to, doing all of that or acting on any of this, um, I can't ever overstate really that speed is one of the biggest career moats that you can have today. Again, no matter whether you're a solopreneur or you work at an 800,000 person company or anywhere in between, it is the career mode, right? We have put this to the test. We've tried to do this a lot, as I said, in, 7 procs over 14 years, but 4 of them in the last 1 year. So that shows you the shift of how long it used to take part-time or full-time then versus how long it takes now. So as an example of what we've actually been able to accomplish by using various AI is, we use it for research. As an example, one of our products called Cloud Twin, which is accessible at cloudtwin.ai, if anybody ever wants to look at the website, is, an enterprise grade product focused on cloud resiliency and migrations. Um, a lot of the research, some of it manifests itself on the website in the form of applicability of that product to various industries. So, for example, you're talking about automotive or manufacturing, energy and utilities, banking, insurance, healthcare, and the like. What does that cloud product, which is a very technical thing, how does it produce business outcomes for each of these industries? That's a lot of content. How does it provide different use cases? How does it work with different clouds? How does it actually fulfill the needs of various buyers, CIOs, CTOs, etc.? I can tell you from my consulting life, even the highest quality person with providing good research and good market research, it takes a month. And on average, it takes more time when you realize that's not your only job. And what normally takes about 8 weeks with some interruptions and life happening to you, That's something as an example we were able to do in 2 days. That doesn't diminish the quality of the output. It's just to show you that that's the kind of output we can do and we can bring. It's the same thing about competitive analysis, and I'll use the same example. If you go to that website, you'll notice the competitive benefits and advantages or disadvantages, truthfully, against 11, 10, or 11 different competitors. If you think about doing a trade study in any field you work in about where you work at versus your direct competitors, or what you're trying to build, and if somebody in the market already exists, which is something you absolutely should do before building anything, if you think about it. Um, that takes so long, but you can actually shrink that to hours. Again, always happy to tell you how, in detail sessions, or meet in smaller groups and share this. Happy to even share templates and everything else. But this is an example of condensation. Soham, you've been on the front of engineering acceleration. Do you want to talk about some of the gains that you've seen and what's really helped you drive those?
Of course. And the most important part that actually helped me or a team to accelerate engineering was planning. Most of the time, what we have seen is that planning takes a lot of time. And even if we do a comprehensive amount of planning, some amount of details get actually missed out. So, what we do actually, and what we did in order to achieve this amount of engineering acceleration, we planned using AI and we criticized our plan. We asked the AI to criticize about our plan, find loopholes and everything possible. Because sometimes the human eye cannot or might even ignore minute details, which machines cannot. So there you can clarify your plan, rewrite it, revamp it, and then just fire, fire, fire. That would actually help you not only to accelerate your speed, but also to improve on your accuracy. So you might just miss out on some edge cases that have been would have been there. So those things will also be covered up if you follow this approach of cri- getting a critical analysis of your entire plan. So yeah, that's one thing. And other than that, this is going to be the speed of this era. If we are achieving this amount of speed, soon people will catch up and everybody needs to catch up because this is going to define this era itself. Yep. So that is my take.
Thanks. Thanks, Soham. And I know many of you in the audience, maybe, if you aren't saying it, or if it's not in the chat, which I can't read right now, you're sure thinking, well, Sean, tell us about the tools. What tools? What do you do? How do you do it? Um, Look, since it's a diverse audience, I'll just say this. If you wanted to go to your next interview and you were interviewing and you went to tell them what you would build for them, you're already behind. There's no excuse for, just spending the 10 minutes, the 20 minutes, the 30 minutes before the day before the interview, having researched the company, prototype just a mock-up in using Lovable or Bold or something. I am not saying use those for engineering, and that is definitely not what I'm referring to when I talk about engineering. Use the free versions of those to show and not tell. And when it comes to engineering, a lot of folks say, well, AI produces a lot of slop code. We can't trust it. We can't trust the output. No, if you engage in spec-driven development, if you whether it's with Kiro or Claude Code or others, if you do it where you have firm plans, you critique those plans ruthlessly, measure twice, measure 5 times, and cut once. It speeds up a whole lot. So that's effectively it. Now, going a little broader than just development, and we talk about speed. What's effectively what we call the speed loop. I think it applies to more than just building, right? When we talk about learning, I'm a firm believer that nobody knows everything. In fact, if I treat myself a human and analogous to a computer, I'd like to say that all my focus for me is my processor and some RAM, but not hard drive. I don't want to store facts because I'll never know everything, but I want to be able to comprehend, to assimilate, to comprehend information very fast, to know how to do something, or to be trust myself to figure out how to do something. And the best thing I can say is, before every meeting, before anything, it is so easy, as you already do engage with, daily productivity and research assistance and more. Just ask the systems, trust but verify. But you have to do that. If somebody says something, the best advice, if I was to ever say something, is if you can figure it out without asking them, asking the human, figure it out. It just makes you that much faster, that much better. And for when you do need to ask them, those are the high value questions you put across. On the flip side, when it comes to, for example, building, and in terms of shipping, so you know, is there an example of a tangible outcome you can actually provide, where you've improved your speed and kind of what is a measurable gain?
Of course. I mean, see, as we all want to proceed as fast as possible. So, for example, this is a bit technical, but for example, if we have some functions that do a job already, we need not to write a function that does a similar job, right? And for huge code bases or legacy projects, it's nearly impossible to get a hold of each and every function for one single person. That's where you can leverage AI. You can give the code base, let it analyze the code base, and it will come up with functions that are already defined in the code base, which you can reuse and do a similar task. Maybe a parameter change or stuff like that, but that's 85% of engineering effort saved right away. No new functions created. We just called another one. So that's how you can leverage AI in order to proceed faster, but with light with precision too. Because if you write or create something new, there's a possibility of error, or there's a higher possibility of error rather than using something which has been continuously tested by millions of users every day, right? So that's how you can actually go through the speed loop, improve and improve and improve every day.
Thanks, so I just want to share one example before we move on, but in the sense of deciding, and then again as it relates to career, right? Because I know a lot of folks, as part of this webinar series from Albert's list, are focused on careers. When I had one of my failed startups, in the not so distant past, although time moves quickly. And I'll be the first to tell you, life is not all about successes. There are 100 failures behind every single success. But I had the opportunity to either go to, for example, a large tech firm. Everybody knows this. Everybody uses at least one product from them in or several in their lifetime. I can tell you that. It was a choice of going there as an executive versus starting something new, and starting again, or starting something else. And I had to decide, I had to make a decision relatively quickly. The nice career options, especially in the executive spec, don't come to, you don't always get what you want. Let's put it that way. And to make my decision, I'm a very data-driven person, and I won't say that I'm, too proud to do anything, but I put in some very detailed prompts in GPT. I poured my heart into it and my brain, and I asked it to ruthlessly critique, am I is this would this be a right decision, make taking into account several factors. These are my monetary goals today and tomorrow. These are my monetary goals 10 days, 10 years from now. This is what I want to do in terms of location mobility. This is what I expect in terms of compensation. This is the autonomy I want at work, which is probably one of the biggest drivers in what I do, and many factors. And it was very, very good at, uncovering some of my blind spots. I'm not saying it told me what to do. I told myself what to do at the end of it. But it definitely helped giving it a lot of detail and then asking it very, very good questions or insightful questions about tell me what my blind spots are. Tell me what I am not asking you that I should be asking you. So again, I wanted to throw out a very different example than a lot of the software examples we talk about. And we can talk about speed, but and how we actually achieve it. But the other thing is also, what do you use AI for? And what will people use AI for? What will companies use AI for? And where exactly is your niche? Where's your value? So I do want to say this. So far, we've talked about, um, what are the different AI eras? Don't be in the light automation. Don't be in the light automation in terms of something new you're building, something you're proposing, etc. If agentic is starting to become mainstream, there are avenues. I'm not saying everything agentic, not even everything AI, right? But be in the right era when it comes to ideation at your existing gig or proposing something new, etc. The second is, whatever you do, do it fast. Prototype, prototype, prototype. Ideate, ideate, ideate. And the third thing is, you have to put in a lot of effort, but where you put it makes a whole lot of difference, right? I think we all know that if you tried to chop a tree, and then maybe this is a silly analogy, but where you swing the axe or the chainsaw really matters. You can't chop the tree if you try to cut a branch. You got to do it at the near the base of the trunk. Do you do it at the absolute base of the trunk? No, you do it a little bit above, right? But where matters. And so now let's get to the where and towards identifying kind of your sweet spot. So in a sense, I think people here know. You've seen LLMs, you've seen other aspects of AI. It's not just LLMs, but many, many things. What are they good at? They're great at pattern detection. They're great at summarization. They're great at drop generation. In fact, many different models excel at one versus the other. You can combine them, mix and match to do what you want. But they're only going to do what you tell them. I think it sounds cliche. It sounds way too common sense. It sounds maybe like, Sean, we expected better from you. Tell us something juicy. But really, I think everything is only going to do what you tell it to do. AI can we deal with cloud a lot. Cloud technologies and more. AI can do everything from analyzing a whole number of security issues and compliance issues and inefficiencies, etc. It can summarize what the problem is. It can even draw fixes, as an example, like how to fix things. But ultimately, would you trust it given the current things to just go and do everything? No, because there are times you can't afford it saying the best way to secure something was to delete it. You can't take that risk. So, to those who say, um, for example, consulting will die or large consulting will die, etc. No, it won't. It will evolve. They have a very difficult job. And if you work at one of those firms, I can only fathom what the pressure is like because I've been there, right? And but it's not the first time. They'll evolve. I think what ultimately everybody wants and every buyer wants is risk mitigation. If you treat everything a buyer has ever told you, if you have a startup and somebody's considered your product but gone with an incumbent, that's risk mitigation. If you were really good at something but you got passed over from promotion because they trust somebody they knew for a longer time, but even if that person wasn't that good, that's just risk mitigation. I mean, humans are wired that way. And so what I can tell you is where the value lives is, um how do you leverage AI to automate grunt work again? But how do you keep humans in the loop for something and keep them in the loop? if you're also building something or proposing something, keep them in the loop. And think about your buyer. If you're trying to automate your buyer out of their job, um, they're not your buyer, somebody else is. So I'm not saying don't build it. Reevaluate who your buyer is, right? And on the flip side, if you can automate yourself out of a job, that's a very good signal for you to actually do that so that you can actually move on to doing something better, and B, um, make sure you're starting to look for other things because it's being done, whether you know or not, it's happening. But that's that. Now, coming into real career scenarios, I know we're talking about many, many, many things, but I do want to stitch in this theme about, how all this applies to careers and to those who are job seeking, those who are interviewing, etc. How can AI help you, right? And again, where can AI help you? Where do you still need to think? Where is it not just going to do the work for you? So, when it comes to interview prep, you've interviewed many, many times, including actually with me. So, do you want to share kind of a brief snippet about, what you've done before, what you would do differently now, as an example, with or without AI, and how?
So 18 months, so yes, so 18 months before, I used AI in order to prepare for my interview for a company named YB Intel, which is owned by Sean. And yeah, my AI preparation helped me with around 20 to 30% of the questions that he actually asked to be exactly the same. And it actually helped me to ease out my pressure and be in a much more comfortable state in order to appear for an interview, or rather, what to expect from an interview. So it's the same game itself. Ask the you ask AI the questions about your doubts. Everyone has doubts about themselves when they're appearing for an interview. What should I do? What should I prepare? What they can ask? How they can ask? How should I present? That's it. You provide your entire context and you exactly put out your doubts into the LLM. And that's how you will get the answers. But 18 months before, if something that would have done much better, I would have provided more context from myself, because it will help the AI to understand what my exact requirements are, what is my background itself, and would tailor make questions and ask me further questions based on that. So, context feeding is one thing that I would be improving if I would be preparing for an interview right now, again, using AI. So, that's my take.
Right. Thanks, And we'd love to hear, how people have done this and how y'all have done this differently. If you've done it, if you paste in the chat, I've said time and time again, we want to learn from everyone else too. It's not just about, sharing what we know. Of course, we're happy to do that, but we are very hungry to learn ourselves. In terms of career prioritization, just picking up another example, I'll just tie that back to what I told y'all earlier about, the choice, about heading back to, one of the global industry leaders, at least in the software sector, versus doing your own thing. And all I'll say is that, yeah, exactly like this slide says, and exactly like that section says, it can surface options and the data, even in terms of, when you interview at kind of an SVP level for a firm, or kind of like global managing director, principal, etc. At some of these firms, it's not just about give me a job. It's about making a business case for, if I come in, this is what I bring you, this is what I can build for you, or this is what I already bring. Or if you're in sales, this is the network of clients I already bring, so the book of business I already bring. And what you're effectively paying me, even if you're paying me 500K or a million or a million and a half, whatever it is, at that level, that is not more than 2 or 3% of what I make you in a year, right? You're not paying me to sit. You're paying me 2 to 3%, but it's 2 to 3% of what I will make you, and here's effectively the plan, or here's me having committed the time to do it. AI helped make that business case for me, but I had to tell it exactly what. It helped me with options. It helped me with expanding on situations. It helped me again with doing market research, finding competitive data. But I can't just put in a one line, or whether it's normal GPT or agentic anything about hey, land me an SVP job, right? And at the end of the day, as much as I got that case made and I had the option, what was compelling was to do something else, right? Which turned out to be the right thing. So that's that. Now, we've said enough. So, we've said enough. So keeping in line with some of the commitments we made as to what we're going to do is a live exercise. And what we're going to do for this is, if you can please first screenshot the slide, and I'll then kind of move on to what exactly it is we're doing. But if you're game enough to do this with us. We promise we'll all do an exercise together. And really, what the goal of this is very simple. Uh, all things AI, in terms of future proofing yourself, in terms of adding the most value to where you work right now, be it for yourself or a large corporation. There are things you can do that are very high leverage, where as in you have high leverage, you command the agency to act on those, and once you deliver those, you have a lot more agency to do what you want to shape the direction of where you work. At the same time, there are things that should be done, could be done, but may or may not be bang for the buck in terms of leverage, not necessarily dollar value, but leverage. There are things that will get automated. There are things where if you work in certain areas, you should feel a little worried, or you should try to automate yourself out of what you do. There are others where, those are niches that you absolutely want to go in. So if you have a lot of proprietary data and IP that you're sitting on yourself, we'll find ways to monetize it. If if you see an opportunity, I saw one to automate a very silly process in 2011, and I took it, and it still yields 80+% margin a year, like profit margins. So I've seen other ones since, which and done other ones since, which yield similar, right? In the, as you would estimate, the SaaS profitability in the 50 to 80 range. um there are others. We do this. We do niche consulting, by the way. We do AI enabled consulting, where we use AI to just deliver value better, faster, cheaper for the clients. We're not being megacorps that just spit out GPT reports, but and get in trouble. But we are effectively doing this as well. So, like you did, screenshot this, and now um, using that screenshot, whether you annotate it on your computer, your mobile device, make some notes on the side. I just give everyone maybe 3 to 5 minutes. We'll take a break. We are running a little behind, so you know for within anything, don't worry so much about the grid, but what are some problems you deeply understand? Maybe someone on this call is a high school teacher. Maybe somebody is an aeronautics engineer. Maybe somebody is into marketing. Maybe somebody is into sales, not necessarily software sales. You could be selling vehicle automotive parts, right? Perfectly fine. 100% fine. No matter what your background, what your education level, where you live, doesn't matter. What is the one or two things? What do you know the most? And what do you think you see that others miss? Right? Similarly, what troubles you on a daily basis? What do you do? What do you find yourself doing that you don't like? And of course, then what of those do you think, based on what we said earlier, what should stay human? So I'll I'll be on mute, and or I'll be quiet for another 2.5 minutes if you can jot down things. If you feel like you won't remember, take a screenshot of this slide too, no problem. And try to do it later if you like. But try to do it now, you know. try to do it now. And what I will say is that we're happy to review these offline, help people through it. If you need after anytime after this webinar, we can even feature, 3 really attractive ones in the next time we do this. And that way you will have contributed and paid it forward. So I'll pause for 2 minutes. Great. That was a fast 2 minutes, but 2 minutes nonetheless. So hopefully can't do this for 40 or 50 plus people live, but not yet at least. But what you should see now is at least having, if you haven't taken the time for introspection or self-reflection about what is your superpower, and if there's one thing I refuse to believe on earth is that you don't have one. You absolutely have one, right? Either you found, it already, or you'll be close to finding it. If you haven't found it yet, don't worry, talk to your friends, talk to someone you like to, talk to us. Happy to help, right? You definitely got it. Whether it's automating something in a high school, whether it's automating a painful paper-driven process somewhere, whether it's building something new, whatever it is there, if there's something you'd like to build, you want to automate, you're frustrated with how things work, fine. Hopefully you've done that. If you want a clean PDF template of that grid, or you want personalized feedback, or you have questions that you can't get answered today, or want some just feedback, just DM us on LinkedIn. My name is Sean Mulchandani. There's only one of me with my name on LinkedIn. Not very hard to find. Just DM Map. Send a connection request, DM Map, or just email us, Sean at redhole.ai, and we'll do that. And if you're good with us sharing a kind of a final version of that, and it's a really compelling kind of exercise and it helped you, then we'll even showcase that the next time we do this webinar in mid-Jan. So that's that. As we move forward, uh, not to suddenly rug pull or disappoint you. If you thought, well, because I was talking so much about building, automating, ideating, and more, but reality check. I will say this, as we said at the start, building is cheap. The entry barriers are low. Good for us, bad for us? No, only good for us. We will make sure it's good for us because we will think through how to distribute and how to get feedback. The when you go and pitch something to someone, you have to overcome the fear of they may say no, they may say it's bad, they may say it's really bad. You can tell me our stuff is bad, no problem. You can tell me this deck is bad. Great, I will fix it. I will fix it the next time if it's bad. If there's anything you don't like, because it will help you if you come back next month. It'll help the next audience in the next webinar. So you got to be open to feedback on your product or your idea because it'll help you build something that you can actually monetize, or it'll help you refine the idea you wanted to provide to your boss at a company you work, and then get the internal funding to build it, or do something or engage on it. And then it's not just going to be a I built something and I got disappointed, it didn't work. You'll get the real high from when you see the adoption because you got the feedback first. We said again about distribution being the real moat, and I talked earlier about not everything is building. So one of the things we've done and is not just be AI native in building a tool, a product, a software. What Som and I do as an example, along with a couple of others, is we've built an AI native company. So as an example, under Red Hold, we have two brands, Cloud Twin and Cloud Discovery. We also do some consulting work. But what we've been able to do is use AI in all of these different areas. So, for example, for go to market, everything from lead generation, like AI workflows. This is a good example of Era 3 that I shared earlier. We use workflows for lead gen, for qualification, for personalized outreach at scale, right? As it relates to our products or other things like that. We also do it for sales enablement. We don't have to pay for a lot of expensive SaaS as we kind of bootstrap a company. And the beautiful part about what we do, I'm not saying it's right for everyone. I'm not saying you have to do it, but I've taken VC funding in the past. I know the pros and cons. Maybe many of you do it too. We bootstrap Red Hold, and it's rare to say that you start a company and you bootstrap it and you have healthy margin, you're profitable and you have healthy margins in under 6 months, and you've released two products and you got Fortune 50 customers, amongst other things. It's rare, but it's possible because we use AI across all of these things, or I would say as many of these that we need to do. We have, what we call an AI taxonomy for the business. This is something we share more in entrepreneurial talks or B2B talks. If you'd like that full kind of list, and it's a pretty nifty kind of resource to say, yeah, I'm a marketer. I could totally rethink how I do or my company does X within lead gen or within branding or within something. What are the different areas? So happy to share that. Again, just DM us on LinkedIn, email me, Sean@redhole.ai, and we'll share that. No cost, no obligation, nothing. Just happy to share. It's just too much brain drain to put that in here today, but wanted to give you an idea. And now, like I said, show don't tell. So we are running quite behind Soham. So I'm going to just um, tell everyone here that look, one of our products, as an example, we didn't start with this. We didn't start with this problem statement or anything. We in fact had an idea for something else in the cloud security space. We thought it would be very nice. And what we did is we researched, we actually spent 6 weeks researching. It was very tempting to build. We're builders by heart. It was very tempting to build. We spent 6 weeks. I know that's a long time for some, not so long for others. And we killed that idea. But we came up with something we felt was far better, and we started testing it. We tested it with people. And really, the problem statement is, in my past life, for a lot of what this is domain expertise. Large firms do cloud assessments for a number of clients. It takes 12 to 16 weeks. It costs 150,000 or more. It's manual, it's inconsistent, it's incomplete, it's slow. So what did we do? We actually solved for that. And Soham, you can share the screen and just walk through, for example, what we've helped do.
Of course, love to do that.
And you got
Mm,
2 minutes or one.
yeah. Yep. So, yep, this is Cloud Discovery. And this is an application for CISOs, CTOs, CEOs,
We
anyone.
don't see your
Oh,
screen? I don't see your screen, sorry. I'm screen sharing. So go for it.
yep. Is it there?
It's not um not yet. And
Not yet.
for no,
Okay.
it is not there. 1 minute, why don't I do this? In the interest of time, I will screen share and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everyone can see my screen again. You will be able to see it now, and I'm sure you can. So So you
Awesome.
can, if you can see it, speak to it, and
Ye-
we're good to go.
Yep, sure. So, yep, this is cloud discovery itself, and this is an application for anyone who is concerned about their architectural security, or wants to even improve their overall posture of their cloud. So, we actually assessed one of the Fortune 50 customers a week back, and we got to know about more than 5,000 issues into their architecture, and that's how they can now improve their entire cloud posture. And it's not only about identifying, it also helps you remediate it. But the beautiful part about this entire application is that it's completely agentic. So, whatever data that you are able to see right now on the screen has been processed through multiple agents, or rather 65 agents as of now, which is growing out to be 108 in the future, in the recent future. So that's how we do it. That's how we automate. That's how we accelerate. Rather, this entire thing, if someone would have tried to do it manually, it would have taken months of time in order to generate compliance data, in order to find out existing issues, whether it's a security issue, whether it's cost issue, or even trying to remediate it. It would have taken months manually. We have accelerated it to days by making it completely agentic. And talking about finding the details or issues of the customer that are recently working with, it only took 10 to 15 minutes to get a complete posture of their entire cloud architecture. So that's the
Mhm.
magic of agentic software right in front of you.
All right. Thanks, Som. So I know that
Mhm.
might be Latin and Greek for what we said in terms of the space we operate in, right? For cloud architecture, security. The point is you looked at an app and the 1 minute or a UI only says so much, but the real takeaway is the way it works is not hundreds of thousands of lines of static code. At the same time, no, that is not lovable in 5 minutes of work, but it's an enterprise grade product used by multiple enterprises where we've solved something that takes, a lot of money and 16 weeks to condense that into like under 15 minutes. We do it, at a fraction of the cost for them. We in fact open it up for, small businesses, even with kind of an introductory tier and make it affordable to everyone. And for those actually in the cloud or security space, if you're wondering a very specific, like, is that a CNAP? Is that a CSPM? Why is that different? Yes, this is era 4. This is 65 agents that we scaled 180 to tackle every single aspect of cloud, as an example. Now, for my audience here, again, if you are a high school or a middle school teacher and you got problem grading assignments, or you sell automotive parts in the Midwest, or you're a regional sales manager for a pharma company, or you're an aspiring new grad trying to figure out how you can build the next thing, which is B2B or B2C, you can do it. And think through everything we've said today. Ask us if you have questions. For those, if you ever are managing, AWS, Azure, or GCP, and you want to leverage what we just showed you, and want to give that a try, again, just DM us or email us, and we're happy to give you a complimentary assessment, aka no charge or free for people that have participated today, for you or your company or your startup, your enterprise, whoever it is. So, and again, it we make it easy for ourselves. We make it easy for those. So, and that leads us to the last thing, you know, um, a secret, not so much a secret. Much is made about, hyping tech. You look at Twitter, you comb Twitter or X, whatever, and there's no shortage of download this guide of 40 N8N recipes, or oh my God, nano banana dropped. Oh my God, this. Look, there's a lot of ambulance chasing, right? I'll tell you that if your objective is fame or money or personal satisfaction, professional satisfaction, a feeling of accomplishment, making your family happy, anything else, I don't think ambulance chasing is going to fulfill any of those. So what we would ask you is really to build your ammo, your modus operandi, your AI operating system, the way it is, right? Build a foundation where you don't necessarily have to be a tech person, but you have to focus on investing your time in areas that, where, as we said in number three, you put the effort in the right place, chop the tree in the right spot, right? You don't trust your life to magic prompts or some model or any one thing. You focus on workflows that are hybrid. Even the 30-second, 1 minute demo we showed you, look, we can automate a whole lot that we don't in there. It's not just about what we automate or how many agents we put in. It's a conscious decision of what do we not do, just which is as important as what we do for what we automate. And scale what works. I am guilty of having built a product in the past that, we spent a lot of money, my own, our own investment money, etc., and it didn't work out. And that's unfortunate for everyone. It's a very painful lesson learned. So what I'll say is, um, try to do very small things, get that validation like we talked about, because, distribution and feedback, like we said in number four, is important. And if nobody's willing to pay for it, if nobody's willing to give you even the time for honest feedback, then it's not exciting them. It's just not. And I know we're kind of short on time, so I'll just say what's next is really very simple. We are doing another webinar which is same or similar. It'll be with some tweaks, so something new for you to look out for next month. And if you're interested in building something for pleasure, for business, for a side hustle, for venture, anything, we're running a dedicated kind of 6 week cohort. You've seen us, you can go to websites, you can ask us. We build real products with real users, we monetize them. That's our bread and butter. We don't do this for the money. I mean, it is the 6 week cohort is something that's paid, but for a very, very nominal thing. And that's something where we help those who want to help themselves. So that's effectively what's next. We'll keep doing webinars based on popular demand. If there's a topic you'd like to go deeper into, very, very happy to do it. That said, um, I know we're over time, so we're happy to take questions, answer a few that may have popped up in the chat for those who want to stay longer. If not, what we'll also try to do is create a digest of kind of those questions, and also send answers to emails or anything if we have them. So, Albert, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, so I just wanted to again thank everybody for their time. And so if you're wondering about the course, I just dropped the link here in the chat. Sean has offered a very generous starting price of $497 for those who sign up between now and midnight New Year's Eve. So if you're looking for a good New Year's resolution where you want to build AI and you want to be successful with it and not be testing too much around and hit it the first try, this is the course to take. I've known Sean for years, and he's always been very successful and success driven. And so if you look into the overview, you'll see everything that he's going to be teaching you over those 6 weeks. And Sean, did you want to cover any particular highlights of what will happen during those 6 weeks?
Yeah, thanks, Albert. So I'll say, in the limited time we have, I'll just say this, like, I'd encourage everyone to read the link, but effectively we cover cradle to grave. So within 6 weeks, what we'll do is we'll start with ideation. We'll help you use AI to come with ideas, but once you come with ideas, we'll help you use AI to validate your idea, come up with several more. More importantly, kill bad ideas early on. I mean, it's going to be a hard process, but We want you to monetize what you make and get at least 100 to 1,000x more of what you put in. And what you put in isn't about some fee. What you put in is your time. We value your time. You value your time. So we want you to be successful where if building a user base, monetizing things is something that's important to you. We'll help you validate the idea. We'll help you do over the weeks, do the market research, do the competitive research, prototype, and then look to scale something. You don't need to know how to code. It is very helpful, but you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to be very technical. If you're not very technical, you may not progress as fast as somebody who's crazy tech, who lives and breathes this. That's not a reason not to do it. We'll help you build whatever. And the whatever doesn't have to be a SaaS product. The whatever can be making your parents' life easier, making something that you've always wanted to, making something that you could show at your company and get a promotion, making something that's a side hustle, making something that is a SaaS product, whatever you'd like. So, yep. And we'll work with the small cohort individual with people. The goal is not a one size fits all. So we will commit the time for that.
Excellent. All right. Well, the link is there. We're also going to follow up with the recording of the video later today. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, please let us know. Um, Sean is pretty much awake all day and all night, so he'll be available to answer them for you. Um, before I close, Sean, any last and final thoughts before we send everyone on their way?
I think someone asked for what's my LinkedIn. Sorry, it is in the chat. And I'm not. I know somebody talked about RAG systems. It would be great to touch base. Happy to talk detailed RAG implementations. I'm not seeing any other specific questions, so if there are any, happy to tackle them, as they come up. So,
All
but
right.
thanks
Wonderful.
everyone, and thanks to those who stayed late.
Well, wonderful. Thank you both for your time again, and thank you those for all the attendees who joined us today as well. This is our final webinar of 2025 for Albertslift. So we want to thank everybody who has supported us this year so far, and everyone who will be joining us for more content such as this in 2026. So wherever you may be, please have a wonderful and happy holiday season. We'll see you in our follow-ups and contacts, and we hope to see you again soon next year as we continue navigating this very, very interesting and evolving career world. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.